All right, Bruce, we just got done our couples weekend here at America's Keswick. We invite marriages and couples to come just to get renewed. And you and your wife, Karen, were our weekend speakers, and it was an amazing blessing. But one of the things I loved having you guys is in the opening session, you shared a testimony of your connection to the ministry of America's Keswick, and I was blown away. And so I just thought, sit down with you and just for other people to get to hear that story.
Okay, well, thank you first for the opportunity to be here and be able to minister to the couples. And yeah, Keswick's a very special place for me personally, and obviously now for Karen vicariously, right? So back in the Depression era, my grandfather lost his business, and his wife took sick with rheumatic fever, and they had a little boy who was my dad. And my grandfather resorted to alcohol as a way of coping with all that, and apparently was not a very nice dad to live with. And when my father got to be of age, he was 17 when he enlisted in the Marine Corps to go to the Second World War. On his way off to war, he told his dad that if he wasn't sober by the time he got home, he was going to take mom and leave. So that apparently was the impetus needed to get my grandfather to look for help. His sister brought him here to Keswick, and I think I'm going to say 1942-ish, 43, he got saved and sober, and so my spiritual legacy begins here. But the fun part about that story is my grandfather actually stayed here for 13 years and cooked in the kitchen.
It's amazing.
And he has a little gold watch that Keswick gave him when he retired. I have it sitting on my dresser at home. I see it every morning when I get up. It reminds me of my legacy. So, and that Grandma's had a 5-generation impact. I mean, my grandfather, my father, me, my 2 sons, and now my grandkids. So, you know, you stop and think of a ministry that can make a 5-generation impact. It's kind of important, and that's and of that, what's fun too, even thinking a little bit, you know, it was 82 years ago that happened, and 3 of my grandfather's family members now full-time ministry, myself and my 2 sons.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you opened the session of talking about generational healing and generational love, and what a testimony that is. And you have a ministry where you and your wife pour into couples and marriages. And maybe just take a moment, walk me through what your ministry is. And you talked about how, you know, leading to your grandfather, now you're in full-time ministry. What is the ministry that you and your wife have?
Well, rewind just a little bit. Going back to college, I was studying youth ministry, and my internship my senior year at Taylor, 1974, before you were born, right? So I was seeing kids coming in from broken homes. The result of the sexual revolution was beginning to take place, and the church really didn't know how to handle it. And I saw the need there, and even in my own family, I mean, you know, because you work in the recovery business, that the damage of alcoholism follows some generations. Not necessarily with the addiction, but the emotional damage that it caused. And I lived in that home. And so it was something that I brought into our marriage in terms of that emotional blockage and some stuff. And I actually went through a group called New Hope to help me work through some of my being a son of an adult alcoholic, so to speak. And to pull that out. So, but how that infects the marriage, obviously a very emotional relationship is one between husband and wife. And so we see a lot of couples who are crashing and burning, and we try to help them. Our ministry, we do intensives for couples who are struggling, usually on the verge of separation or divorce. And we bring them into one of our 6 facilities, and we, in groups of 3 couples that are struggling, and we put them with a coaching couple that we've trained. And we walk them through the tools of how they can build the marriage they want to build. And it's based on the gospel. Obviously, you can't have the marriage God wants you to have if God's not in your life. And so in a nutshell, that's basically what we're doing, which again is saving families. So this last year, we served over 160 couples. Our success rate's 85% are still married a year after the intensive. If you figure 2.5 kids per family, that's a lot of families.
It is. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce, I am thankful for you, thankful for your wife and what God did here this weekend. And I just appreciate you sharing your story. And I'll leave information below of Bruce and Karen's ministry if you would like to get more information about what they do. But thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
Yeah,
thanks for the privilege of being here. It was
Absolutely.
good. Yep.
Cool.